Alrighty, how's it going, everybody? 01 of 1 back again. And I have just discovered that, well, not only is my offline player still here and picking up their coffee, apparently, the Y-Files has a new video coming out about the Anunnaki. So that's going to air at 8 p.m. and I want to be there to watch it. So we're just going to play until 8 tonight. And then I would highly recommend all of you at 8 o'clock to go over to the Y-Files and watch it with me. It'll be fun. Viking, welcome. I see you there. All right, so we did a whole bunch of stuff over here to make all of this stuff. And now we have to make like all of this stuff, right, which is 6 constructors plus 2 assemblers, just that way I can make the modular frames. And that's going to take a lot of stuff. So we're gonna take off of that one right there and get all of that running wherever it needs to go, I guess. And then, or do I want to take that and then run that one? Yeah, we probably want to take it off of this one then. Okay. So I guess we just better get started, right? I'm gonna need a lot more belts than that. Okay. So let's go ahead and do that real quick. As we do, starting off the episode with some manual crafting. Alright. Then I'm gonna need to get some brass, some bronze, all of the good stuff. Let's see, so this will be our brass, which we have a fair amount of, our bronze, which we don't have a fair amount of. All of our steel rods are now full, so that's kind of cool, I guess. I don't know what I'm gonna use them all for, probably a lot of steel screws, because we're probably gonna need a lot of those. Right, so, first things first, we have to make the bronze plates. And then we have to make a bunch of brass plates. Soon I will no longer need to go through all of this nonsense. Alright, and then I need the brass plates. Need to make a bunch. I mean, it goes like fairly quick, but it's just, I don't like sitting here and just like doing nothing. I mean, technically I'm doing something, but me personally, I'm doing nothing. I hit the space bar and then I just let it do its thing. And that's it. Also, I am working on stationeers off camera a little bit. Mostly just trying to get the fuel stuff going and the oxygen stuff going and the cooling stuff going. There's a lot of stuff that needs to get going. It's just, it's not there yet. So, let me think, hang on. We're down to, I know you guys, well, you guys aren't going to see because I've got 3 other videos that you guys haven't seen yet, so I'm ahead of that. But we're down to less than 10 liters of water. However, we are close to being able to make astroloy. And as soon as I can make astroloy, then I can make a spacesuit, which I can then sell, I think. Or do I know? I don't know. It's a mystery. Anyways, I need to make these, so let's just make a bunch of these. And then all of the other stuff should be good. I need to keep like unlocking stuff, but I want to get that made. How close are you to the mining goggles? What is the right way to say this? Could I make them with the system that I've got right now? Maybe. I know that that needs some specialized stuff, but the astrolae that I've got set aside is like 200 astrolae. So I'm thinking that would be enough to do at least some damage. All right, but as far as making the goggles, what I would like to do is get all of my auto mining to the point to where I don't need the goggles, because, you know, everything is just being, you know, mined properly. All right, so we're gonna go 1, 2. That will go there, and then we got to go down to here. All right. So now we need to start making stuff. Production, constructors. We're gonna need a bunch of these. I'm gonna need some of those reinforced plates. Let's go ahead and get that going. But I mean, the problem that I'm running into is I don't have enough fuel at the moment to get the furnace up to pressure. I think when I logged off before I started this up, I was at what was I at? 26 megapascals, but I need to get to 30, or was I at 22? But the thing is, like, the greenhouse just went up over 50 degrees, or to 50 degrees anyways. So that just immediately, like, stopped all of the stuff from growing. So now I'm not getting oxygen, which is, you know, obviously a problem. So I'm trying to, like, I printed off like a little wireless battery type thing, like one of the large ones, and then I hooked that into the portable air conditioner, and I've got that running in there. And I also set up a wireless power distributor thing, so that I can just keep that battery going the entire time. But yeah, it's something. It's something. We are making progress, which is good, and we're kind of almost to the point to where I could, you know, be proud of where I'm at, but we're not quite there yet. All right, so now I need to set up all of this. I'm gonna need more cable pretty soon. Viking says, yeah, that's true. I just have started watching Cows Are Evil and just saw him using them, but if you're about to get auto mining, then that makes it kind of a waste. Yeah. I mean, I've got auto mining sort of running. So, I mean, I am producing all of the ores that I need right now for all of the building that I'm doing. In fact, I have a surplus of ore right now, or a surplus of ingots. I've got, like, I have so many steel, like, it's ridiculous. And I just made, like, another 200. I don't need 200 steel. But I was just trying to get, like, gases into the furnace to, like, bump up the pressure a little bit so I wouldn't have to use so much fuel. But then I remembered that if you're auto mining this stuff, it doesn't actually off gas, so you're not actually getting any benefit out of that. So then it's like, oh, well, I just wasted a bunch of temperature. It is what it is. I don't know, man. It's a work in progress. That's what it is. All right, and then you need to go here. You need to go there. And then the assemblers have a bean floating in the foundations right now. It's fun. I believe these are set up in the same... Yeah. Okay, so they're starting on the same line. So like these start on this line, the assemblers also start on that line. Yeah. Bean. They're bouncy. It's kind of funny. Okay, so to make assemblers... Do I have all of this stuff? Oh, I'm gonna need more cable. Like, really, really gonna need more cable. Well. Jump through everything and completely miss the stairs, because that's how we do. Viking says, yeah, I'm just glad you're playing it and not me, because I would have been dead on episode 1. I mean, that's how I was when I first started playing it, like, from scratch, like, before I knew anything about it. And I was playing on the moon. And I died within the first day. And then I died again the second day, and then again on the third day. And then I couldn't figure out food, so then I died again because I was starving. And then water, I ran out of water, so I died again. So there is most definitely a learning curve. Alright, so I need copper. Lots and lots of copper. I should probably get like some of the copper set up so I don't have to do this manually, but I'm trying to get the iron all handled first. Tis a pain. Oh, and then, like, I don't even know what I'm going to do for the rotors and the stators, because that all needs iron too, and copper, and other things. It's going to be interesting. Okay, I need to make a bunch of copper rods. No. I can just make the wire. How much wire do I have? 154? That is nowhere near enough. Alright, we're going to be sitting here for a while. Viking says, yeah, I've watched hundreds of hours of gameplay between you and a couple other players, and I'm still at a loss with half of it. I mean, the best thing that you can do is just start playing it, and then you kind of figure it out as you go. And then the other good thing about doing it that way is you kind of get your own style of play, which then, you know, makes things a little bit easier. Whereas, like, if you're watching a bunch of other people play, I mean, it's good to learn that way, right? But they also have their own style of playing. So, like, cows are evil, right? If you take him, like, he just tosses all of his materials, like, in a pile, right? That would drive me insane. So I have to get, like, organization up and running, but then a lot of people say, oh, you don't have to do all the organization, blah, blah, blah. And I'm like, I get that I don't have to do the organization. Like, it's not required, but it would drive me insane just leaving everything in a pile. And then Shadow Drake, I don't know if you're watching any of his stuff. I've watched a couple of his things. They're fairly informative too, and he's got his own way of doing things, which is interesting because I think I actually picked up a couple tips and tricks from him. But yeah, he'd be a good person to watch as well, if you want to find him. And then I think he would probably appreciate the views too. Alright, so let's go and get this. And then, of course, Cows Are Evil is, like, just ridiculous with, like, how good he is at this game. Like, I try to follow, like, what he's doing, and I'm getting better at it, but, like, it's just, it's insane. Viking says, I love Cows Are Evil builds, but I'm more of your OCD. Yeah. Alright, so now we have... That was not where you were supposed to go, sir. Assembler here. Alright. And then we need to get all of these things hooked up in a nice way. Alright, so that... Oh, that's going to be... interesting. I might have to run this out to the edge, or the outer edge here, so I have room for all of this stuff. Interesting. And then all of this, of course, needs its own stuff as well, so that can go there, and then there and there. Alright. Okay, and then all of this needs to be set up. Alright. I mean, I could run it straight out and then just kind of go around here. Could be a thing that I could do. Viking says, I still need to build my PC. I have a case and that's about it. I would suggest going for a gaming motherboard specifically, because they've got some interesting, what's the right word for it? Interesting things with the motherboard that make them good for gaming, whereas like a standard motherboard, not so much. And do we want to? No, we'll just run it here. That's fine. And then CPU is important. So like all the visual stuff will, and some of the computational stuff will depend on your video card. So video card is still very, very important. But a lot of like the internal gaming stuff, like all of the code that's running behind the scenes that you don't ever see, that also relies pretty heavily on your CPU. And then your CPU depends heavily, and I mean heavily, on your RAM, right? So if you want to, like, you could have like a mediocre processor, but if your RAM is really, really good, like that processor will run like a champ. And then as far as the GPU goes, I personally use NVIDIA. I've never used the other brand, main brand, whatever thing. So I don't know how those are. But with NVIDIA's GPUs, they kind of generally follow the same numbering. So like 50 is going to be like your uber entry level type stuff, usually the cheapest and not very powerful. But depending on like the 10, 20, 30, or are they at 40s yet? I don't know. But like a 1050 would have a really, really, really hard time playing this, right? But if you go with a 2050, you might have a better time. 3050, if you can find one, if they've ever made one, would have a much better time. Your 60s are going to be kind of like your mainstay kind of GPU. They're pretty stable. They're relatively powerful. Your 70s are going to be like your upper level. So if you want to do like some high-end gaming, they're usually pretty good at it. And then your 80s are just like top tier, like you don't want to have any like frame rate issues at all. You want to go with the 80s, but the 80s are of course more expensive. Viking says, oh yeah, whenever I get enough saved up, I'm definitely going to get your input. I can build it, but know nothing about what spec need to be. Yeah, just let me know. And also let me know what kind of games that you want to play too. Because if you go for like the more, I suppose the newer games where you've got like the higher end gaming engines, like what is this one running? Like they just updated the game engine on this one. I don't remember. I can't think of it right now. But yeah, the more better, I guess, the game engine, the more processing you need to run things using it. Viking says, if I could play your games, I'd be happy. Okay, so for my kind of games then, I would go with the 1070 as base entry level, and then maybe a 2070 if you've got the money for it. And then if you want to go into the 30 series, which is like the newest stuff, you could probably get by with a 3060 playing this. And then I could actually look up prices real quick on those two. As long as I'm not doing anything except looking at a screen. Let's see, NVIDIA GPUs. And then there's a couple places you can go and get them. Let me see if I can remember which ones. That's usually where I go to get them. Do not go to Best Buy. Do not ever buy anything from Best Buy. Newegg is pretty good if you're going to go to Newegg, but they tend to run out of stock on things, especially when the mining, cryptocurrency mining market kind of went crazy. What was the other one? It was like a it's like a camera website or something. I used to have like all this stuff shortcutted, and now I have no idea where it is. So Let's see. Let's just look up like a 3060 and see what kind of prices we can get for it. So yeah, 3060, 12 gigabytes. You probably want to go for a little bit better than that, but that's like 300 bucks. It looks like. And then if you want to go with the higher end stuff, I would say a 3070 would run everything that I'm running with no problem, but that's going to run you. Wow, they actually do have the 40 series out. Okay. And also you have to be careful with the 70s and the 80s. They tend to have the 3 fans on there, and then that also makes the GPUs a lot longer. So you need to make sure that the case that you've got can actually fit the GPUs, because if you buy a really big GPU and you can't fit in the case, it does you no good. Charles is here. Welcome. Viking says, hey, Charles. Let's see. And then there's also brands, right? So NVIDIA like comes up with the architecture and everything. And then what they do is like other companies, like, so they got MSI, Asus, Gigabyte, NVIDIA, PNY. NVIDIA, of course, makes their own cards, but they're hard to get. But these other companies also make them. If you had to pick between one, I would go with Asus. I've had the best experience with them as far as video cards go. And then if you go with the Republic of Gamers, which is ROG, so any kind of ROG. And I think they also have Republic of Gamer motherboards too. So those are good. Like if you want a gaming, like a good gaming thing, that's what you want. Let's see, Amazon, eBay. Be careful buying anything off of eBay. If you're buying anything from like a crypto miner who is like upgrading their build or whatever, you can usually be relatively confident that the GPUs that they'll sell to you should be in good condition. Because the whole thing about, you know, mining cryptocurrency is that as you're doing that, the GPUs heat up quite a bit. And so what you have to do is you have to run them at low power. Well, you have to find like a sweet spot where they run the most efficiently. But if you can get that, they're not like being burnt out. Like if you run this on like, I don't know, what's a really high pixel rating? Not 1080, 2060, I guess, or 4080. Like if you're gaming like on 4080 or whatever, and you're just like burning through that video card, it's probably not going to last very long if you buy it secondhand. But if you buy it from a miner, odds are, because GPUs are expensive, they're going to take very good care of it, so it lasts very, very, very long. So the case I have was a big gaming PC build. Okay, so that's good. So yeah, I would go with Asus if you can. They're slightly more expensive, but I have any Asus GPU that I have found, I have never had an issue with it. When you get into the gigabytes, the issue that I've had with those is that the fans tend to die. And then PNY is just terrible. So I wouldn't get anything from there. MSI is kind of hit or miss. EVGA, they're another company that makes, you know, cards and stuff like that. They're okay. I would probably put them at number 2 behind Asus. Now, NVIDIA, of course, would be like 0. Like if you can get something from NVIDIA, like made by NVIDIA, guaranteed it's probably going to be really, really, really good quality. And it's going to last you a long time. And then let's see. So we've got... So for like 3070s regular version, it looks like it's about $400-ish. If you go for the 3070 Ti's, that's going to bump it up to about $750 from what I'm seeing. Now, you don't need the Ti's to play games or anything like that. Charles says, for motherboard, I would not use Gigabyte. Yeah, neither would I. I've not had good experience with them, and 0 is right about the Asus motherboards. Yeah. And then Viking says, okay, yeah, I've been out of the PC build scene since Windows 98. Wow. And then let's see, ROG motherboard. Let's see what we can find. Yeah, so Asus makes the Republic of Gamer stuff. So now for these, they come in different sizes, right? They've got like really, really small boards, they've got medium-sized boards, and they've got really big boards. The first thing that you need to do is make sure that you can figure out what size motherboard fits your case. Because if you buy a really big motherboard and it doesn't fit in your case, you're going to have issues. Now, if you're trying to go for a high power build, do not go for the smaller motherboards or the smallest size. Go for the medium at least, and if you can get the large ones to fit inside your case, go with the large ones. And then again, look for Republic of Gamers, ROG, and you can usually find, let's see, so they've got a bunch of these ones, looks like $480, $270, $630. Now, another thing about the motherboard is they will have very specific CPU sockets, and the type of CPU that you get has to fit a certain socket. So make sure that you match up your motherboard to your CPU before you do anything, right? Let's see. So the motherboard is probably going to be one of your more expensive buys, and that's if you want a good one. But I would say all in all, if you want to get a decent, let's say 70 percentile, motherboard, CPU, GPU, and a hard drive. Oh, for the hard drive, definitely get an SSD. Like straight SSD, don't go for hybrid, just straight SSD. And then they've got the one type which is not the one that has the cable. It just plugs directly onto the motherboard. Get one of those. Those have really, really, really good latency. And when you're dealing with, especially with gaming, right, you want that latency to be as low as possible. And that latency is just communicating or pulling data from the hard drive, throwing it into the memory, and then taking the CPU and then processing off of the memory. So you want that latency to be as low as possible, which is why I would most definitely go for the hard drives that kind of fit onto the motherboard itself, which means that you have to go for a motherboard that has that slot on there. So that's another thing you got to do. Let's see what else. Also, some other motherboards that we've got here, and let me see. We want to make sure that we're on Asus. These don't really have very good pictures. Okay, so for memory slots, you want to have at least 4 on your motherboard. At least 4. And then if you can get 8, great. And what this is going to allow you to do, especially if you get 8, is you can buy a cheaper RAM. That's going to be a smaller size, like maybe 4 gigabyte RAM or whatever. But if you have 8 slots, well, 8 times 4 is 32 megabytes of RAM, which is what I've got in my computer, right? But then if you can find like 8 gigabytes or 16 gigabyte things of RAM cheap, then that just allows you to like upgrade as you go. And then the thing about RAM though is there is a certain point to where you can keep putting in more RAM, but it's not going to do you any good because your CPU only needs a certain amount of RAM to like run at full speed. So once you reach that for your CPU, and I think there should be something in the data for the CPUs, once I think it'll have like a recommended RAM size or something like that, and then like max RAM size. I don't know if it shows you max RAM size, but try to match that up as best as you can, so that your CPU can run at full speed, and then you can go a little bit over because then that gives you a little bit of leeway. Charles says, what is the slot called? SATA? No, SATA is the cord. You don't want that one. And then Viking says, smart with the RAM hack. Yeah. What is the let's see, SSD hard drive type. Solid state, no. Best internal, solid state, I don't know. This is, oh, M.2. That's what you want, M.2. So you need to make sure that your motherboard has an M.2 slot, if not 2 slots. And then the bigger the motherboard that you've got, the more M.2 slots that you will have access to. And then as far as the PCI ports, really you just need 2. I wouldn't go any more than that. Some of these gaming PCs have like 4 or 6 or 8. Like if you're just going to be gaming, you don't need all that. Now my computer has a lot, but then again, I've also got USB 3.0 cards in there. I think I've got a couple of those cards in there. I've got another card in there for something else. So the extra PCIe slots are good for that. But again, if you're just going to be gaming, like you don't really need to worry about that too much. So I would just get 2, and that should be enough to get you going. So all in all, if you want a decent gaming rig, at least one that can, you know, compete with mine a little bit, you're probably going to end up spending $1,200 to $1,500, and that's going to be for your CPU, your motherboard, your GPU, your RAM, your M.2 solid state drive, hard drive, and then did I say the GPU? Yeah, I think I said the GPU already. So just kind of like those 5 components is what you need. Oh, and then also very, very important, you need to make sure that your power supply can like power all of the stuff that you've got, right? Charles says that's not too bad. No, it's really not. I mean, it's expensive, right? But Charles says income tax return. Pfft, not me. I owed on mine for the first time ever. Viking says it's not as bad as I was thinking. Yeah. Okay, so with the power, so you need to make sure that you're looking at the different types of cables that come off of that. They have 8-pin connectors. They've got 6-pin connectors. They've got a 24-pin connector, which connects onto the motherboard. And they've got some smaller connectors for some peripheral stuff. If you do get a 3070 or a 2070 or something like that, either one should probably keep up with my computer, as far as the video goes anyways. You're going to need 1, if not 2, of the 8-pin connectors, specifically just for that card. And then Charles says at least 1K watt to start. Again, I would check the power requirements because your CPU is going to use up a lot of power, so check how much power that needs. Your motherboard, depending on its size, is going to use up a lot of power, so check how much that needs. Your GPU is going to need a lot of power as well, so check on that. All of your peripheral stuff won't use anywhere near as much power, so those are going to be your 3 main power sinks. And then when you're sizing your power, once you figure out how much power you're going to need to run everything, make sure that you will never exceed 80% of your total power output on the power supply. So let's say that your GPU, motherboard, and CPU are going to use 1200 watts, right? Or let's use 800 for an easy, conversion here. So let's say that it's going to use 800 watts, right? You're going to want at least a 1K kW power supply. Now, if you can run it 60 to 75%, that would be better. Because if your power supply goes out because you're drawing too much power, like you're done. Like you need a new power supply. And then hopefully it doesn't, destroy any of your other components. So again, do not ever run that thing any more than 80% of its total power. And if you can get it between 60 and 75% when your computer is running at max, that would be better. So if you're running like let's go back to our original like 1200 watts to run your entire system at full blast. I would go with at least a 1.6 kW power supply, if not a 2000. 2000 would be playing it safe. Your 1.6 would probably get you closer to that 80% mark. So again, just keep an eye on what all of your stuff is using as far as power goes, and make sure you're supplying at least that much plus another 20 to 40%. And if you can do all of that, if you can remember all of that, you should be in a good place to make a pretty decent gaming rig. They're really not that hard to make or put together. I mean, putting them together is actually really, really easy, but you just need to make sure that you're, doing all the things that you need to do. Viking says, should you get the power supply last? My suggestion would be make a list of all of the specific components that you want first. Put down the price, put down the type that it is. So each thing has a type. So like your M.2 versus SATA or whatever for your hard drives. Your CPU socket size is going to be another thing. So AMD's CPUs have like a very specific socket size, which is different from the Intel ones. So you need to make sure that that jives correctly, and then make sure that your motherboard matches that socket, because if it doesn't, again, you're kind of screwed. So just write down everything that you've got, and then if you want to go for a more high-end system, go with Asus, but again, that is going to cost you more, but it is higher quality. And if you can get NVIDIA for the graphics card, great. But again, those are kind of hard to find. And then, so just get your list of everything, figure out what the power requirement is for each thing. And like, if you go onto any site, if you go, they'll give you the stats, or the specs, I guess, specifications for any of the stuff that's on there. So you can look up there and find the power requirement and stuff like that. And it'll also give you all the socket sizes, connection types, and all that other stuff. And then Charles says that he would start with the CPU first, go for the motherboard second, the GPU third. I would do motherboard first, CPU second, and then GPU third. But, I mean, either way, it doesn't really matter. But, I mean, you're just making the list, so it really doesn't matter which one you go with first. But make sure that you figure out what size motherboard your case can handle first. So, like, the case that I've got, I'd say it's probably about 2 feet tall, about 10 inches wide, and about 2 feet deep. So it's a really, really, really big case. And I've got space in there for like 16 like normal spinning hard drives or whatever. I've got enough room in there for like 8 different, PCIe cards. I have like a really, really, really big heatsink in there on the CPU, and that fits in there too. Oh yeah, heatsink, that's going to be another thing. Most of the CPUs that you will buy will come with their own heatsink. Most of the time, however, those fans and heatsinks are undersized. Now, it's okay if you're running it, not balls to the wall, but if you ever decide to run your computer balls to the wall, you need to be very, very careful about that fan, and you want to see if you can get some extra ventilation in there if you can. There's going to be a lot of heat buildup inside the case, so like right now, I run my case with the side like most of the way off. Viking says, how many SSHDs should I run? It depends on the size that you want. So what I've got in mind right now is I've got a 250 gig M.2 hard drive, which is connected directly onto the motherboard. And that is where I'll put, the actual gaming files on, because then that's with the whole latency thing. But then as far as other stuff, I have an additional 2 external 2 terabyte SSD cards. And they actually they run off of USB 3 and they're powered by USB 3, which is crazy. Charles says, at a minimum, go with a full copper heatsink, at least copper or aluminum copper. No, he says aluminum copper sucks. Okay, so the combination of aluminum and copper sucks. What I've got on mine is I think the actual heatsink that connects to the CPU is copper. And then the pipes that go up into the stacks are also copper, but then the stacks themselves are aluminum. But then again, the stacks that I've got, it's a good like 6 inches thick. So like I don't even need a fan on that heatsink to keep the CPU cool, just because it is like literally ginormous. You need a very, very, very big case just to fit that thing. Otherwise, you'll never get it closed. But yeah, so it depends on the size you want. I would say for gaming, if you can get a 500 gig M.2 SSD, that should be enough to run. Like you can throw all of your game files on there. That you should have more than enough space. And then for all of your, and then also you want to run Windows. Throw that on there too, because that'll make Windows run pretty fast too, and it'll also make your starting and restarting really, really fast as well. And then for peripheral storage, like this is going to be like media files or pictures or videos or, you know, whatever else. You can use you can use just straight up SATA drives if you want for those. Viking says, I believe this one was water cooled. If it was, should I go back to it? That's going to be up to you. My personal preference and probably my own personal bias is I don't like anything that could leak liquid onto delicate electronic components. So I will not ever run any kind of liquid cooling on any of my computers ever. Not that I don't think that they work. They probably work extremely well. But in the case that something breaks and it starts spraying water everywhere, I don't want to have a short on any of my stuff, because that's how you break things. But, I mean, I've seen some water-cooled computers that are, like, insane. And, you know, they look good, too. So, I mean, really, that's up to you. But for me, again, personal bias, I will just keep things dry. Then what was the other thing that I needed over here? I needed iron wire, right? Yeah, iron wire. Okay. So that is going to be iron rods and iron wire after. And then I know that they do make some liquid-cooled systems that don't use a conductive liquid. And that, like, you could spray that liquid all over your motherboard and you'll never have any issues with it. But I think, like, those are specialty and they're also more, like, much more expensive. So I don't know if that's something that you want to look into. But if you are going to do liquid-cooled, go with the non-conductive liquid. Again, just personal bias, I would not go with water-cooled. Alright, so now I need to get all of these things to connect into here. And then, okay, so one of these is going to have to go around the back. And then one of these is going to have to go... No, two of these are going to have to go around the back. Go in this way, and then the other two will have to come in from that side. Yeah, okay. And then, what time is it? 7:33? Okay. And then, again, the Y-Files has a new video about the Anunnaki coming on at 8 p.m. Central Standard Time. I will be ending the stream at that point so I can watch it live. My suggestion to all of you, if you are interested in something like that, is to watch it as well. Alright. So, we're going to need... Mark 1 belt here, mark 1 belt there. This is going to have to go here and here. Charles says, off subject, I finally died on Europa. I forgot to pause the game when I went to do my taxes. Yeah, those taxes, man. They are definitely killer. I want to say that that is probably going to go to there. Okay, sweet. And then we got to go to here and then out 2 more. And then this one gets to go this way. We are... Okay, so 1 in from here. 1, 2. That goes in there. Alright. So that is good there. And then we need to get these things to go in. And then this is going to have to go this way. And I need more iron plates, which I am currently making a lot of. So I don't have to manually craft them, which is nice. Do-do-do-do-do, do-do-do. 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 There we go. Another 600. Just because. Alright. And we'll go down here. It'll be fine. So, Viking, did I give you all of the information that you think you need in order to build your gaming PC? And then if you have any questions, feel free to ask. More than happy to answer. We gotta go over to here. 1, 2. Oh, no. We gotta go to the back one over here. Alright, hang on. You need to go all the way over here. 1, 2. And then you can go into there. And then this one. Alright, so that's got to go to here. Viking says, yeah, I definitely have got a good start now on what I need to look into. Excellent. And then you still have access to the 01 Discord, right? I think that's still running, even though Carl is kind of off doing his own streaming adventure thing. But yeah, as you're like looking at stuff, actually, you know what? Once you have your list of parts, take a picture of it, put it on the Discord, and then let me know that you put it on the Discord. I'll take a look at it and I'll just like double verify it just to make sure that everything you've got should work. And then once you've got that, then you should be good to go to build it. So if that's something that you want to do, I am more than happy to help you out. I haven't been on the Discord in a while. Then again, I'm kind of biased against Discord too, so... Alright, so this should be good to go. We're getting all of our parts. Excellent. Alright. Okay, so then the next thing that I have to make... we're going to need to set up another one of these things just temporarily. So if I want to make this modular frame here, I need to make 40 iron rods per minute. Okay, so then if this is only going to make 15... per minute. Okay, so then I'm going to need 3 constructors. Viking says, yeah, I'll message you on Discord whenever I get it lined up. Not sure when I'll get to it because I have to get my project car going first. Aha. So there's 1 constructor, 2 constructor, and 3 constructor. And then I'm going to need another assembler. Alright, and that should be everything I need. So that'll make the modular frames. These will each make iron rods. We're gonna need this last one to run at 67%. We'll just set this to 10. So that'll be good. And then that'll give us our 30 plus our 10, which will be 40, which is everything we need. And then, let's see, I'm gonna need... splitter. We'll have this come in from here and then go out that way. And then I think that's going to use up pretty much all of the iron that I need. Or all the iron that I'm going to have in there. So that's going to be 40 iron coming out of there. 70, 100, 130. Okay, so I am still going to have some extra iron at the end. Okay, that's fine. That just means that we get to do another one of these. All right, so that can go there, that can go there, that can go there, that can go there, that can go there. All right, so that should be all of the parts. If am I out of iron? I'm out of iron. Why am I out of iron? Probably because I'm full of magnesium. That would make sense. Okay, so this can go to here. That is not in the right place. There we go. You can go to there. You can go to there. And then you can go to there. Alright, so let's go and check on our slag and whatnot. Just to make sure that we aren't overfilling. That's going to be down here, right? Yeah, CO2 is full. Magnesium is full. These are like the last few things that I need to control. Now I could just exhaust the CO2 and I wouldn't really have to worry about it at all. But I don't know if I need the CO2 for anything, so I want to try to keep it contained for now. Alright, so that gets to go over here, and then all of these need to be combined. So we need a merger over here. And we'll run this kind of super close because reasons. Because then we have nice 90s. I like nice 90s. Alright. And then we can have this go down into a hole. Okay, so that will go down once we have all of that being collected. And then I'm going to need... Oh, right. All of this is also going to have to be collected. So let's get another merger over here. Okay, that should be good. That will run into there. Okay. And then we'll run this under the ground. Mark II, there we go. Okay, so then this and this both get to go onto the inputs over here. Alright, and then that gets to flip around. That'll go there. Alright, now we need to go under again. Alright, so that needs to come out. Go into one. I'll run this one around and I'll run this one kind of over. I think that'll work. And I think that will come out nicely. Make a nice 90. Oh, no, it doesn't. Now I gotta fix it. Okay, so that will run there, and then this one is going to be on the line here. it's going to be 1 off of this. So 1, 2, 1, 2. There we go. And that can go there. All right. So, nice, organized. I think that's pretty good. All right. I still don't have iron being made over here. Why? I'm not low on slag, am I? I don't think I am. Oh, and all of these things can come out because there is no frame for them to go onto. Or foundation, whatever. Alright, that can go too. I could put like these where the actual, you know, points were. Yeah, so then that will go to here. And that will make me feel slightly better. Alright, and then that... Even though structurally these aren't doing anything, it does make it look like it's actually being suspended properly. So we'll just go with it. Alright. So, that... I still need to figure out why I'm not getting any iron over there. Alright, what's going on, iron? First, let's empty this out. Just to make sure. Yeah, it's already at 312. Yikes. That's already at 400. Dude. Alright. So, what is the dealio? We've got plenty of that being pumped in here. Okay, good. We've got that. Our steam is low. Our water is good. Steam low, water good. Steam low, water good. Steam low. Ooh. A little slow on the iron. Okay. Do we not have enough iron being made? Why do we not have enough iron being made? Slag is empty here. Okay. Slag is good here. The crushed stuff is slow. Okay, why is the crushed stuff slow? Because all the crushed magnesium. Okay. Alright, that should keep them going for a little while, I think. How's our stereotype looking? Shouldn't be any issues with that, right? Yeah, stereotype's pretty good. Okay, so I think it was just the backup of the molten magnesium. Alright. Okay, so I think this is working. How's our slag doing? Okay, we're kind of keeping up. That's good. We're almost full on sulfur. I don't even know what to do with all this stuff yet. Okay, so I think that should... Yeah, we're still missing some iron here. Okay. Yeah, down here this is like barely flowing. Okay, so max volume per minute is 150 in this thing, right? And that's the max flow rate right now. Okay. And then if we're making 30 per minute with this... Oh. I need a bigger pipe here. Or a Mark II pipe. Okay. What do I need to get that going? Okay, so we need like 500 of that. Pipeline Engineering Mark II. Okay. So let's get this going. Need a bunch of that. Gonna need a bunch of that. The iron rods, I definitely have all of that. The brass pipes are gonna be kind of a pain. Dude, look at all of this stereotype just flowing, man. That's just cool. What's going on with this one? This one is not flowing. Or is it? Oh no, it's just getting stuck. Okay. No, we're good. And then coal here is still doing well, which means that we're maxed out on our steel, which is fine. Okay. So we'll take all of the brass here. I have to make a lot of brass pipes. Oh, right. I need 2,000 iron rods. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. There we go. Do I have any more brass pipes in here? Probably not. Lots of copper. That's not brass. That's not brass. Nor is any of that. Okay. Well, we can do all of this. That'll be fun. And then I need a ridiculous number of motors and a ridiculous number of brass pipes. And then for that I need iron? Really? That's weird. I mean, I'm making all this stuff, so that's good. But it's still kind of weird. Is this? Nope, that is our sheets. Is this our wire? Nope, that's all screws. Is this our wire? Nope, that is rods. And that's plates. So where was I making the... It's definitely not there. Is it here? Aha. Alright. Let's run back over to here. What time is it? 7:53? Okay. Brass pipes. Make a bunch. What I should probably do is throw some more containers up on the brass and the bronze at least, maybe even on the steel. So that way I can start, you know, building up. Because I mean, right now the most I can get out of that is what, like 198? 196, whatever it is, at a time. So if I want to be able to grab more materials... Yeah, this thing is just straight up full, dude. Okay. So that is doing its thing. That's probably going to run through the rest. Alright. Is this where that will come out? Yes. Okay. That's going to be in line here. So let's go with this. And I'm just clipping this like directly through here Also, this is going to need to be a Mark II belt because I believe that goes out of there at 120 per minute. Okay, so that goes there. And then, let's see, container storage, that is on the line here. There we go, Mark II belt, there we go. Okay, so now I can grab brass and bronze fairly quickly. So that'll be good. The only bad thing is that's going to cause these things to use up a lot of the copper and iron that I need to make those, so yeah, I don't know. Now that I think about it, I am gonna need to collect the steel, because I know that that's gonna be needed for the stators. All right, so that is one off of the middle, I guess. So that can just go through there. We'll start collecting that. And that should be fairly good. Especially as I need to build, you know, more conveyor belts and parts and whatever. Alright. Stop when we get to like 200 or something. Hey, all right. I have another crafting setup over here. I think that's closer technically. All right. Brass pipes. So this will put me at 160, so it'll be 440 something. So I need quite a bit more. Okay, yeah, 132. Oh, okay, so it'll be 414. So I'm gonna need like another, let's see, what is that gonna be, 600? No, more than that. 800? I need more brass, basically. So I think we'll just let that go for a little while. Build up some stock, I guess. We've got everything kind of moving and grooving. We've got our modular frame set up, which is good. We definitely needed to get that going because we're going to need a lot of those modular frames to unlock stuff. So let's see if we've actually started making any. Do we have any? We have 38. Yes. All right. Sweet. And we got 90 reinforced iron plates in there. That is insane. All right. So that is doing a thing. I'm going to put in another storage container over to here. And we'll say that's probably good right there. And that can just go directly into there. That will get my modular frames to get stored into here. All right, so I would say this was a successful episode, so I think I'm okay with that. But yeah, so we are just at about 8 o'clock, so I'm going to hop over to the Y files. I would strongly suggest that you guys all go there too. And yeah, should be a good episode. I like stories about the Anunnaki and Nibiru, Nibiru being planet 9 or 10, whatever it is, I don't know. I think it's planet. No, planet 9? I think it is planet 9. I don't know. Anyways, but that is going to be it for this stream. Hopefully you guys have enjoyed, and if you did, hopefully you'll join me for the next one, which will be tomorrow, same time, same place, 7 p.m. Central Standard Time from Freedom Land. But for now,